Hiya! Thank you for joining me today. Today I wanted to discuss the topic of voices. I've had a few queries recently from people who were asking me about my voice, how I do my voice, how I achieve a feminine voice. And it's got me thinking because I don't think of my voice as being a feminine one. It's not something that I associate as being a feminine voice. But it did get me thinking about the way that we try to do voices and what is an achievable thing, particularly as someone who is a cross-dresser and has to flip between male and female presentation. So, with that in mind, if you go back to any of my earlier videos, you will find that I used to do a very sort of different voice. It was much more, hiya, this is how I'm talking, very sort of animated, talking very fast, and it was all like this, and I didn't like that. I didn't get on with that voice particularly well, and I was doing some sort of research at the time on how you can do voices and how you can present your voice in a more female way. And I looked up online. If you go on YouTube, you'll find lots of videos, and they'll talk about things like lifting your Adam's apple. So if you put your fingers on your Adam's apple and swallow, what you'll notice is your Adam's apple is lifted by the muscles that you use when you swallow. And if you can train those muscles to pull your voice box up as you speak, you can tighten things in your voice box, and you can maintain a higher level of voice. And this is something that is talked about as a technique, particularly if you're if you're transgender and you are trying to pass as female all the time. You want to raise the pitch and tone of your voice. So I looked into that and I practiced for a little bit, but in the end I didn't want to do anything that was particularly affected or that I wasn't going to be able to maintain. If I'm not going to speak like this all the time, then I didn't want to do something that was just for that moment, because I had concerns. So my concerns were, what happens when you're out? If you're doing what I would consider to be one of those high-pitched voices, the sort of animated chipmunk voices, where you're talking really up here and you're trying to put on this kind of high-pitched voice, and it's basically trying to do something up here, but it doesn't sound natural. There's going to come a time during the evening when something's going to shake you and you're going to go, and then you're going to have to go back into it again. You think, oh no, I just let people know. And it doesn't sound natural anyway. It doesn't sound like a female voice. It sounds like an affected high-pitched voice. And I didn't want to do that. It's unnatural. I can't keep it up for very long. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to drop it. And it doesn't sound great. So with all that, I decided to not go for that. It doesn't work for me. Maybe it works for you, but it doesn't work for me. So I wanted to consider other techniques or other things that I can do. And so I looked at the videos, I tried, I practiced, I did bits and pieces. But eventually I came to a conclusion, which is that I can change how I sound without necessarily needing to go to a length that is difficult or unsustainable. And so what I chose to do was talk in my normal voice, but a specific section of my normal voice. So to be clear, if I were talking normally in guy mode, I'd be down here somewhere. So this is where my voice would be. I'd be coming in round about here. And so on a day-to-day basis, I'd be talking this kind of level. With that in mind, when I'm varying my voice in natural conversation, I'm going to have a higher level, which is reserved for surprise or shock. something along those lines. And so I figured what I would do is I would simply maintain that higher range. So rather than using any of the lower range of my voice, I just use the higher range. And for that reason, I speak in what is essentially my normal voice, but I restrict the bottom octave or so. I don't allow it to go down into that bottom octave. So this is my voice, it's my natural voice. It's just a specific section that I choose to allow, not the rest of the voice. And for me, this works really, really well. So I was very happy when I found that I could do this and maintain it. For me, one of the key problems with doing this kind of high-pitched effective voice is you really can't shout. So if you're in a club, you might constantly be thinking you're going to drop at some point, it's going to come out. But also you might be trying to talk to someone and maybe it's a bit loud and they can't hear you because you really can't shout. It's very hard to shout when you're trying to do this. Whereas in my normal voice, I can bellow this out. I can really go for it with this. And since it's more natural and it's not something I have to worry about at all, I feel I can have more animated, more regular conversations with people and present myself with my level of animation and fun that wouldn't come across if I was having to fake things. And so that's really my key tip. So anyone that wants to know how I arrived at this voice, I went online, I looked at YouTube videos, I practiced, I studied those, I decided it wasn't for me, but I kept some of the tips and I'm still conscious of just tightening things up in here. Go have a look at the videos, just tightening things up in here a little bit, just to be able to raise it enough to keep it distinctive from my natural male voice. And I've had a lot of compliments about my voice, which is very flattering. And thank you to anyone that's given me a compliment of my natural, this voice that I use. It's nice for people to say that they feel this as being a sort of feminine style voice. I'm sure it's got more to do with my mannerisms and maybe more to do with my diction than perhaps it does with the actual voice itself. But I'll take it. I'll absolutely take it. And it's fabulous for me to get any kind of compliments or any kind of positive feedback about this because it is a difficult area and it's an area where I've found my sort of niche and my way, and I'm very happy with that. So, if you have any particular concerns about voice, that is what I would advise. There's loads of videos out there giving advice on how to do this. Go look at some of those YouTube videos, do some practice. But if you're not trying to talk all the time, if this isn't going to be your normal daily way of speaking, then you've got to come up with something that you can do like that. Pop your wig on and you're into that voice. And that's where I am today. So it takes time, but I was I wanted to go to something very natural. So any questions from anyone, please let me know in the comments down below. As ever, you can get hold of me also through my website, www.julietnoir.uk, or my email address, which is juliettesnoir@gmail.com. The links to both of those are in the description of this video. So if you have any issues, look in the description of this video. And send me any questions, anything you want to know, or any observations, anything you want to do, by all means get in contact with me through either of those sources. And I look forward to talking to you all again soon. Thanks so much and bye. Bye.